I'm Caitlin, and I've been RPing with you guys as Cynthia / the game maker that everyone hates. I wanted to make some videos to start our YouTube channel because nothing's there right now and it's kind of depressing. So I wrote stuff down on a note card because I really ramble. I'll probably just get off on a tangent and this video will go 20 minutes long for no reason, and I'll start talking about other things. So I really hope I don't. But I wanted to talk about just Cynthia in general. Sorry. I have a cold, and I don't know how I caught a cold in our 90-degree summer, but somehow I did. So I want to talk about Cynthia in general, talk about her childhood a little bit, because you guys haven't really gotten to hear about that, and also about her life with William, because I love them and it's kind of important. So starting with her appearance, which you guys kind of already get, she has a pretty plain appearance. I could have been a lot more creative with how she looked. I mean, she could have all sorts of weird, villains have some villains. I don't know. She's kind of the antagonist here, I guess. Have all sorts of weird flaws and weird, I don't know, cool clothing and cool stuff going on there. But I really didn't want to, because the reason I kept her so simple is I wanted the main focus to be her personality. And it's not really in her personality anyway to care that much about putting on this show and having a really good appearance. It's more her work that's important to her. So she's a little bit plain for the Capitol. I mean, honestly, if you look at her clothes, to us they look formal. When I'm wearing her clothes for her cosplay, I'm ew, I hate this. But because I wear a t-shirt and shorts every day of my life. But for the Capitol though, she dresses pretty casually. I mean, something a nice just a nice button shirt and pants or a skirt or something. And it's supposed to look nice, but not she really does not. She's not into the really crazy fashion of the Capitol. She sort of would rather blend in a little bit than stand out that much. And so anyway, the focus is on her personality, which was kind of the whole thing all along. I think it makes her a little bit more real, a little bit more relatable, which is actually the scary part of this. I wanted her to be very real. I mean, I wanted her to be flawed, and I wanted her to be complicated, because I don't think people are that one-sided that, I didn't want her to just be, mean for no apparent reason. I mean, she just sort of happened, as I was telling you guys, on the first day when I was getting to know all of you in the chat room, she just happened. I don't even know where she came from, but she was just there. And, I can't even describe it. Yeah, she just happened. So her focus is, it's on her being sort of, relatable almost, because I sort of designed her so I could relate to her in enough ways that I could portray her, but that she wasn't like me, because obviously, there's a lot of things that we have different viewpoints on, and honestly, I would really not like her if I knew her in person, just because, she's so indifferent, and that's one thing that really pisses me off about people, is when they don't care. But there are also things I like about her, so I'll get to that later. I think the thing that's really terrifying about her that I realize that just scares me is, if you think about most of the people in the Capitol, or how they're portrayed at least, people are generally ignorant to what's going on. And I think that's true in our own society, is people are not necessarily bad people, or, I mean, it's just there are things that it's better to just not even think about, for people, and I'm included in that. I just mean people in general don't like to think about things that are hard for them to think about, or that would force them to change their lifestyle. And Cynthia is not ignorant. She totally understands. She has felt, I mean, part of it is her background, which I'll explain to you guys a little bit more later, but she's felt very deeply in her life, and she's experienced a lot of pain, and she's been through a lot, so she knows. I mean, and she still understands how people work. She's very fascinated with people. She doesn't necessarily like them, but she's fascinated by them, and she gets people. She understands what those feelings are, and she understands the gravity of this situation a lot better than a lot of Capitol citizens probably do. But the thing is, she doesn't care. Like, she gets it. She understands that it's that degree of pain, but she doesn't care. Like, that's terrifying to me. And it's kind of interesting because I think it's a different perspective than a lot of the other game makers would have, and maybe that's what makes her so successful, is it's like she knows, she just like, if you remember, I don't know how many of you guys were there when like Finn's first conversation with Cynthia was really interesting, because she talks about how like none of us really asked to be here, and that's sort of her viewpoint at this point. Like, it was a little bit different before William died, but at this point she had to basically overcome so much that she feels like it's her right to be here anyway. Like, she feels, I mean, there are sort of like losers and winners in life, is her viewpoint. And she's like, well, it's not my fault that you're here. I'm doing my job, and I don't really care about your pain because I've had to overcome a lot of pain to get here. And, you know, she's proud of where she is. Like, she doesn't care. She's very proud of her position because, you know, it's what she worked for. And it's like she just feels like, well, I've been dealt a bad hand in life, you know, that's not fair, so whatever. You know, I'm here and I'm gonna make the most of it now. So on one hand, that's almost a practical viewpoint. Like, there are some things about her that I really actually really respect. Like, the fact that she was able to move on after William sort of amazes me, because he was just so much to her. Like, and she's not one of those people who just cares about people over and over again. Like, he was definitely the first person she had ever really truly loved and given that much of herself to. So for her to trust him in the first place enough to, you know, love him, and then losing that, like, you know, that changed her viewpoint entirely. And the fact that she was able to like pull herself out of that rut and work again and be independent for the first time, you know, ever really. Well, I mean, when she was younger, she actually had to be independent, but ever since William, like, they just were so coincided that she sort of came to rely on him and he came to rely on her, and they were so like, they were like the same, they were like one person, just almost. And so losing that much of her, losing that like half of her, was like the fact that she could carry on, you know, alone and not, you know, and be successful, and like, that's kind of amazing to me, and I sort of admire that. What I don't admire about her is obviously the fact that she is pretty sadistic. I mean, like, it's interesting role-playing her because she's such like a foil to my personality, in some ways. In some ways where like her obsession with control, I can sort of relate to. It's obviously not in that extreme, but I understand, you know, I feel that way sometimes, and like her not wanting to seem weak in public. Like, you never see her really, like, she's very put together in public. Like, that also, that coming back to her appearance, it's, you know, it's pretty formal, but it's not anything great, but it's definitely like perfect. Like, she's perfect in public, and she doesn't really like show any pain or anything inside. Like, she just looks very put together, and I don't really like to, you know, like, show that much like pain in public. Like, I'm not one of the, like, I have not cried in public very much. Like, it's just not something I do, and I don't like to. I don't like people to see that. I don't know why. And what was I gonna say? Dang it! I lost my train of thought because I was right there. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Oh, she just feels like she likes to have as much control as she can, which you guys know, and she knows the inevitable, which we can't really control, is death, but she sort of can. She can speed it up or slow it down. And that's where, like, you've seen, sometimes she'll have this sort of weird, like, suicidal tendency thing going on. And that's where that comes from. It's not like she hates herself or something. Like, the thing about that is, like, I can control this. It's just another thing she can control. Like, if someone was going to kill her and she couldn't do anything about it, she would kill herself, obviously. Like, she would not, like, let someone else have that, or have that satisfaction. She would take it into her own hands, and that would be her control. Okay, what else? I was back on the line of her being somewhat sadistic, but you guys already know that, and I don't respect that, because I think she just, like, not picking on people her own size sometimes. Actually, sometimes anyway, I don't know. So that about her obviously really pisses me off. Okay, I was back to her like not showing emotions in public thing, but it's not like she's just like cold and then she has all these emotions that she's like hiding. I mean, she has some emotion in her, but she's generally pretty cold and pretty numb on the inside. Like, she started feeling to that same degree after she started building herself up stronger. And she needed to do that because obviously if she felt to that same degree after William died, it would just have torn her up and she wouldn't have survived. So it was more of a survival instinct to just take on this new self, and to the effect where she didn't feel much. And that's where she is now. Is, I mean, there's substance there, but it's like so much of this is just like sort of numb and meaningless and cold to her. Like, just things do not sort of like touch her, and it's not like things touch her and she's trying to hide it. Like, she's generally pretty honest about who she is, which is also the scary thing. Like, it's not like, oh, she just puts on this show where she's mean. Like, she's just indifferent, and that's like who she is, and she's okay with it. So that's Cynthia. You guys probably figured out most of that by now, but I wanted to just talk about her for a little bit before I moved on to the other stuff. So now on to the other videos. So thanks again, you guys. I seriously love RPing with you all. You're amazing, and this is my first RP ever, and you guys have been really patient with me. Like, I'm not that good of a game maker because I honestly have no idea what I'm doing, but like, you guys are so supportive and so nice. And like, Caitlin, thank you very much for like letting me do this in the first place, or like thinking I could do this in the first place. And also, screw you, I have like no life now. No, actually, I take that back, Caitlin. You, shame on you. Like, I had no idea how big a part of me Cynthia would become, but I really like, I've developed her a lot, and she means so much to me. Like, I just like have put so much thought into her, and I think about you guys a lot and your characters. Like, this is a really big part of my life. So thank you all for being amazing, and yeah, I love you guys. I'll do individual shout outs some other time because I'm really too lazy to, and I want to get on to the other topics, and I feel like my camera's gonna run out of battery and I'm gonna start rambling. So, okay, on to the next one.